Welcome to Board Game Binge, the place where we bring you bite-sized, bingeable board game content from across the industry. I'm your host, James Staley, and in this episode, we're chatting with Zlatko Savic, from a game designer from Infinite Galaxy Games. Their premier title, Eye of Zamrock, is relaunching soon on Kickstarter. Zlatko, welcome to the binge. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It is great to have you. I want to just what I want to say to the gate is you're the first Serbian that I've had on the podcast. That's so cool. How big is the gaming industry there?
Well, it's on the rise. We have we have created a Serbian tabletop guild recently.
Oh, cool.
So we have it's a group of 10 teams, and we're closely working together. We've been on the Essen Spiel 22 together, had a big booth there. So there are lots of games going on right here, and few are on Kickstarter right now.
Is it like a large community there, and is the community rooted in like meetup groups or like board game cafes, or how do you guys kind of get together to game?
Well, it just started recently, so it's not something that's been going on for a long time, but there were a few special places, and now you can find game cafes all around. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see the growth of this hobby, and globally, right? You're seeing gaming cafes pop up everywhere, meetup groups for people to get together and game together, and certainly commiserate and get around the table and throw some dice and have some fun. How long have you personally been kind of in the gaming industry? Is this something you've done have you been gaming your whole life, or when did you get into kind of board games?
I've been playing games all my life. So basically, I got ZX Spectrum in '85. I played it with my dad. Then we played all the games we had. Then we started making our own. That's for the video games. And then my first, let's say, touch with the tabletop gaming was in 2000. We heard of something like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and we needed somebody who would take his story and tell it to the others and lead the game. So I became naturally a game master there, or dungeon master, and I've been for 23 years dungeon mastering.
Wow. So
and,
I was gonna say D&D. So is this something has it always been kind of more RPG, or have you played any of the casual games as well, or you've kind of stuck to that genre?
Yeah. I've been all around. Basically, I haven't been playing much of other things until let's say 2010. And in 2008 I started making my first board game. I needed something to play quickly, so I decided to make it's called Zarina. It's still in finishing phases and it's not over yet.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of my next games to publish. After that, when I got married with my wife, we decided that we really loved tabletop gaming and board games, and we have now our 60, 70 games, and we play them all day.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And so your day job, I think I was reading, is a librarian, but you're also a software developer. Is that?
I started as a librarian.
Okay.
I worked in a library for 12 years. And then after that, I turned to programming, and I'm still there. So.
Wow. It's amazing the number of people I talk to that are board game designers that started in the software industry, right? And see it as a way of, getting more tactile and kind of getting away from the computer. Is board games an escape from you in that regards? Like, do you use it as a way to kind of get away from the computer, or do you still see them kind of connected, or?
Well, to be honest, no. I just love to play board games, so there is escaping from everything.
Yeah.
We can say it like that.
And your software development, is it more along the lines of like user interface or user experience, or what kind of software development do you do?
Well, actually, I started. I've been developing lots of things like Android apps and stuff like that. But then I turned to enterprise development. Now I'm working as a
Mm,
project manager. So it's been a long road.
wow. Now, Infinite Galaxy, my understanding is there's a number
Mhm.
of you. I think there's four of you all together that form this
Yeah,
company. How did you
yeah,
guys
and
all
we're
connect? Like, how did you guys get together?
well. One of them is my brother.
Yeah.
The other two, one is his friend, and the other one is my friend. So that's how we got together. It all started let's say, 7 years ago when we were on there was this board game jam, and I said, okay, let's go. And I brought my friend there. And then we found out that, okay, we cannot do it alone. We called my brother and some other friends, and we created some cool game. It was like a version of Monopoly or something like that. And then we stopped working on that some 6 months into it. And but we won that game jam, to be honest. And after that, we decided, okay, we need to make a game together because this is going good. And I don't know if it's sadly or for good, we created a monster of a game you see today. It took us more than 5 years to
Wow.
make it where it's at. So,
And then
I
how?
mean, it has been completely only working on that because we had lives in between. This is
Sure.
started as a hobby. Now we turned it into a business because we really wanted to make it and to make it good.
And how do you guys play test it? So, in a country where gaming is emerging, is
Mhm.
it a lot of online play testing, or how do you kind of get it out there for people to try?
Well, firstly, we started off with friends. Now we have two games running around Europe, and people are playtesting it. And also, there are gaming groups here. There are some also professional gaming groups
Mm.
that we are planning to test with. So we will see how it goes.
And this idea of Eye of Zamrock, where did that come from? So,
Mhm.
can you explain what Eye of Zamrock is?
Uh, Yeah, well, since I was in grammar school, I started drawing some comic books, short stories, and I don't know, songs, poems about this world of Zamrock.
Okay.
It was about there was this god that was slain in the universe, and his head was drifting and stopped at the conflux of all magical sciencey things. I mean, back then that was all there is to me. And that god, while he was dying, he cried out and created the oceans, and then with his last dying breath, he created the world of Zamrock, and all things came to be. And I started sketching things about that, and even writing a book in the early 2000s. But then I stopped working on the book, sadly. Maybe I'll write it now because everybody's talking about that.
Yeah.
And well, in 2000, when I started Dungeon Mastering, I decided not to use Forgotten Realms or anything. I used World of Zamorak. So all the stories and everything that's happening is actually all the lore is coming from 20 years of playing RPG in that world.
Oh wow. And how would you describe this game? Would you describe it as RPG? Would you describe it more as a board game? How would you describe it?
Uh, well, it's a board game.
Yeah.
You have some RPG elements like questing with your heroes and sort of developing heroes with their items. But it's mostly a strategy game, and also you have an economy, which is like a real fight is in the economy part.
Hmm.
So that's the hidden beast behind the game.
And then, how did you convince the other three to go with this game? Was it a pretty easy sell to get them to say, yeah, let's pursue this game first?
Mm, well, I think we all wanted that at that
Yeah.
moment. The problem is when you work with three other people on one project, we first needed to align our wishes for the game because we all come from different backgrounds, and we do different stuff in life. And then I'm the one, okay, they said, okay, we like the idea, let's do it. And then I said, okay, I got this is, and we got like a huge game. We tried it first. We played for 17 hours. It wasn't a good experience. And then we decided, okay, cut this, and the other guys jumped in and they said, okay, this is a cool idea, and we started working on it, and years passed, and we have it now.
No, it's cool. It's so awesome working with family, I find too, and things like that. My game designing partner is my brother, and often we will do that. We'll start off with a really, really rough rudimentary idea, and then we just start kind of going back and forth, and what do we take off, what do we build on, and usually we end up with something that we both love, right? And it's kind of pursuing that passion, that river of passion, and getting to something that you're both going to be not only excited about, but can't wait to kind of get back on the table and see how you can reiterate even more. It's a cool experience. I find that different than working just with others, right? Like when you have that family member who you may have even grown up playing games together, right? It's right. You've kind of got that shorthand built in, which is pretty cool.
Exactly.
This story of Eye of Zamrock, is this something that you said you wrote like I guess a book on this? Did you ever do it as like a graphic novel or anything like that, or how far did you take the book?
Well, I just drew some short comics about it, but I never published anything about it. So I got an early draft about 1,000 pages. So it's nearly there.
It's super cool. Is it? I mean, I could see this being something even as a graphic novel, and I was showing on the page here for people who are watching live or on the repeat. The characters are so cool that you guys have created. This one character, I guess you call it, where it's got a creature that's it's like almost like a skin suit that it's wearing, I guess is the best way I could describe it. How'd you come up with these different creatures? Like this is, I wouldn't say something out of nightmares, but certainly there's a lot of creativity around these characters you've come up with and these minis and so forth.
The thing is, the game itself is actually happening right after my book. So this is the continuation of what happened at the end of the book, and it's happening like 10 years after. The Demon King is slain. Well, that's...
Is that then leave you open to do a prequel at some point and to have it about the actual book itself, or?
And that might happen, yeah.
So this game you guys put on Kickstarter, and this is how you and I first connected. I saw it on Kickstarter a few weeks back. You reached, I believe it was, I'll put this in Canadian dollars because it's a large number always, but $36,500. And I think it was about a week in, then you guys decided we got to pull this. You had a goal that was quite high of 94,000. First of all, I just want to say, kudos to you for agreeing to come on the podcast after you've pulled a campaign, because I think there's a lot of learnings that we can share with other people, which is what this is all about, right? How can we pay it forward, and as a community, how can we all learn from each other? But two, having the I would say the bravery to pull the campaign, and it is excruciatingly hard to pull a campaign. Not as difficult to hit the button, right? The button is easy to say, cancel the campaign. And on Kickstarter, it's probably the easiest platform to cancel a campaign on. But just when you have that internal struggle going where you have people saying you can do it, right? Because you were always told since you're a young kid, never give up, right? Keep persevering through. And the reality is in this industry with Kickstarter campaigns, the math is the math. And a lot of people get trapped with thinking, well, I've got a couple of friends and family and loved ones that want to see me kind of be successful, and they don't want to see me. They see it as necessarily quitting. And, you got to kind of put that aside and say, no, I got to do what's right based on the campaign, because if I grind this out and this thing doesn't fund, and the math is clearly showing it's not going to fund, it's not super respectful to the backers that you're bringing in later on the campaign after it's not going to make it. And two, there's an opportunity cost of what your campaign could be when you relaunch it, right? And how much bigger it could be, and how much more funded it could be when it relaunches, and all the opportunities to retool. So I know it is. I've done it myself. I've pulled a campaign. I know it's a very, very tough call. So I just want to, say to you guys, congrats on that, because I know that it was tough. So that being said, what were some of the lessons you had that you've learned? What are some of the things you think you guys should have done differently going into this this campaign that put you in this position to have to pull it?
Okay, so firstly, we had some technical errors in the beginning, probably because we are rookies in this and we weren't sure how things correctly work, or probably haven't been informed. Now we know all about it. So there was a confusion about pledges in the beginning. We probably lost quite a number of backers because of that.
What do you mean by confusion
Uh,
around the pledges? Like, what was the confusion?
we started the campaign where the fulfillment or shipping was included. So
Hmm.
there was a campaign in January that canceled because of that also, and they're relaunching sometime soon. Actually, the game looks similar to ours,
Hmm.
so we will probably back it. Anyway, the thing is, starting with that, we managed to somehow mediate that to fix it at one point during the day. But then we saw that numbers aren't rising correctly. Like I said, the math wasn't right for the game to succeed on the project. And also, we got some feedback from the people. People needed to see more about the game,
Hmm.
which we weren't, let's say, very transparent about. We didn't have any playthrough video that people ask for and stuff like that. So we are now working on that and to make it for everyone to see. And also, well, probably we need to be heard more.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things that's always a requirement.
So the community and things like that, maybe.
Yeah, we have already have a like our tavern group, Tavern of Zamrock,
Hmm.
and it needs to be filled with more people and enthusiastic about the game. So, and it's happening
Yeah.
at this moment after the campaign. We are getting more interested parties, and we are working on answering some things. We also had one pledge only. Seems like there are people who would acquire the game, but they don't have that much of money because of the miniatures and everything.
Yeah.
So we got a request. Okay, why don't you have meeples and some changes to it? So we are thinking about that and
I see. So almost like a
looking
lower pledge
toward that
value,
goal.
but instead of the minis, you put in like
Exactly.
standees or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
mean,
having a deluxe and basic version and
yeah, you did
stuff like that.
have like a dice tower review. You had
Hmm.
a couple overview videos. The artwork, which again I'm scrolling over on the page, looks fantastic in
Hmm.
terms of
Thank you.
your pages. I think you guys. I mean, the page looks great. So in terms of, I think, showing what's in the box, there's a
Hmm.
lot of good info here, and so one of the coolest things to me is the minis themselves. I think that's probably one of the things that's going to bring people in is these cool minis and the graphics and the artwork. I mean,
Hmm.
it's very, very beautifully designed. I wonder if the pledge amount, in terms of your overall goal, was something that
Hmm.
that needs to be kind of considered as well, right? So when you run the math on these campaigns, typically the math goes that if you're not at like 70% funded in the first 48 hours, you're probably not going to cross the finish line without really,
Exactly.
really grinding it out. So the higher that number is out of the gate, the higher the tougher it is, obviously, to hit that 70%. Is there going to be any wiggle room for you guys at all to to adjust any of that at all in terms of kind of your goal?
Yeah, that's also one of the considerations. So to lower the goal,
Yeah.
that also adds, well, for indie developers, that adds, we can say some, how do you say, risk.
Yeah.
So, but we believe that that can be one part of the goal.
Yeah. Certainly, I find minis are very expensive.
Mm,
I don't think people realize it's and it's not even the mini cost itself, it's the molds, right? You could be spending $3,000 on a mold for a mini, right? So if you've got a box that's really mini heavy, you got to try to find a mold that can punch out a bunch of different characters in the same kind of same run, but it is not cheap. So if you have a game that you've got one pledge and it's a lot of minis, that kind of puts you in a position where you kind of have to have that higher goal amount. Did you guys ever consider having them as add-ons, the minis? So have the base game and then just have the minis as an add-on?
Yeah, we thought of like separating. So that's one of the ideas now. So to separate minis as an add-on,
Yeah.
to add different pledges and stuff like that.
Yeah. And in terms of your community outreach, and I'm sure you've had a lot of people kind of cheering for you. I was reading through the comments on the page, very complimentary, where people are saying, hey, can't wait till this gets relaunched. So excited. You made the right call. Glad you guys made the call quick, right? So I think that, you've got a lot of fans there that are really rooting for you to see you succeed and are going to come back, obviously, when you relaunch the campaign. What are some of the other things that you guys are doing to kind of reach out to fans or maybe engage new fans?
First of many things is we're gonna try to reach too many reviewers.
Yeah.
And to move game a bit around. That's one of the things. Also, of course, there's marketing.
Yeah.
So we need to invest in that in the next months. And talking to you is one of the things also.
Of course. Do you guys have for social media, is there like a Discord channel you guys have, or how do people, like there's your website, which is Eye of Zamrock. I'm going to put a link in that in the show notes so people can find that easily. But is there somewhere online people can follow and kind of be part of this journey?
So currently we have a Facebook group. So Tavern of Zamrock, that's one thing. We have Facebook page, so it can be followed from there. That's one of the things. And we have a Discord channel, but we haven't been using it. And we are really thinking about turning it on and having people there to open up discussions and stuff like that. So that would be for the best.
And if people want to get into this world, is there a tabletop simulator version or an online version somebody could play test and try it, or?
Well, there are so many of us, so we didn't have the time to make it. We could make it, and we will at one point, but at this moment, it's difficult.
Yeah, when you have a game that's this big and this heavy, certainly it's that can be a challenge. Obviously creating it. What about like live playthroughs? Will you guys do some things like that? Maybe either on a Twitch or on YouTube, so people can kind of tune in and kind of watch the game live. Is that something you guys are looking to do, or?
Well, it depends. The problem is game is 1 hour per player, so I'm not sure if somebody would like to watch 6 hour gameplay or something like that.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. That's a possibility. So yeah, we're also thinking about that. We are for the starts, we are gonna film some playthroughs ourselves.
Yeah.
And how to play videos, but also one of the games is will soon go to Dennis Gaming. He's gonna make a not playthrough, how to play video.
Yeah.
And we'll see where it goes further.
That could be a good, almost like a contest, right? So anybody that tunes in to watch, even if they don't stay for the whole time, but they just tune in to watch, their name goes into a draw maybe for a copy of the game. Right, you could maybe do a draw or something like that to kind of make an event out of it. But it just looks so cool. Like it'd be so awesome to see. Like, have you guys 3D printed these? Like, do you have the actual minis that you can play the game with?
So like this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we have them printed out.
So you can play with the minis already.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, my problem is I'm like a bit of a thinker. I like to make prototypes out of everything. So when I have an idea, I really make it, and then we try it, and it can fail, it can succeed. So we'll see.
Yeah. And what are your other team members like? What are their roles in this? So you're the story started with you. Clearly they're all involved in helping kind of, adjust and tweak the game. How have you guys kind of divided up like the labor and the roles and responsibilities across the company?
Well, we decided that I'm gonna be the tiebreaker team lead. So when we decide on something and we're not sure if we're gonna go with it, I'm the deciding vote. Also, I'm making the story as we go and making the prototypes. Then we have Milos, who's behind the math and some mechanics, and he's doing a bunch of, like, let's say, solo testing. He throws the prototype and tries every possible scenario. Then we test it, and that's how we get initial tests. Then Goran, he created the OST for the game. He's doing the marketing stuff and preparing. He prepared all our Facebook ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he also created the Kickstarter page, and so we are diverse in that side. And also Marco, he's our community manager, and he's also working in marketing. So we're like separate in those areas. And of course, we all are adding to the value of the game. And I don't know, when somebody has like doesn't need to work directly on some part but has another idea, we try to implement it and work on it.
No, that's cool. Is there any key things that you're changing in this game before you relaunch it all, or is it going to go as it is?
I'm not going to comment on that. Just kidding. We had a few comments that we have a slow burn start because the game is just like that. And for new players, it's probably a difficult thing to get into the game. So we are now trying to create some scenarios or something that people can easily get into the game. And we're also trying to make it more accessible, maybe faster. Because we always had that idea, but now we have the time to work better and make it until next launch.
So almost like two different modes. You have like kind of the quick mode, which is okay, here's a scenario, you play with the scenario, and then more the longer campaign mode if someone wants to go like the full kind of soup to nuts.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. When are you guys relaunch? Have you picked a relaunch date, or when are you guys looking to relaunch this?
So not yet. It's too early to tell, but we are gonna listen to our crowd, to our tribe, and to see where it leads us. But it's, let's say, 4 to 6 months or something like that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Are you guys going to profile at Essen in the fall?
We'll see. Essen is expensive. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's costly. More costly for people like me that actually have to fly there.
Yeah. That's true.
Instead of hopping on a train, but yeah, it can be an expensive.
As an exhibitor, it's way more expensive than just a visitor.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I think that's the case probably with most of these conferences, right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I am rooting for you guys. This game to me looks really cool. Obviously you've got a lot of people that, in the first few days, you got a lot of backers. So it seems like just some minor retooling here. You've got a game that's good to fund. I don't have any doubt about that. It's just getting it to that right funding goal, I think, and having to kind of match up with that. But clearly you have a huge fan base, and I can't wait to see where you guys end up this year. Please drop me a line when you relaunch so that I can at least let our community know. And I want to wish you all the best in your team in this coming year. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been an episode of the Board Game Binge podcast, hosted by James Staley, produced by James Staley and Mike Bruner, with original music by Nick Smith. If you would like to watch these interviews live, simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, Board Game Binge, and you'll get access to live interviews, giveaways, and interesting board game content from across the industry. I can't wait for you to join us. See you next time.